So once again, good evening. Today we'll be looking at expert system and local use cases in the contemporary environment. This will be the topic for the day, or expert system for local use cases. So on this note, we'll be looking at features of expert system. Here we'll just want to refresh our minds. What are the different features deployed for expert system? Take for instance, this is a user which may not be an expert. Then look at the system itself, the knowledge base, the inference engines, and the interface. Interface is the user interface where you can connect to the system. Then from the system, you cannot be connected to a knowledge engineer who have all the technical knowledge to operate the system. And in between, we have human experts. We have human experts. So in all, we have the knowledge base, the inference engine, explanation mechanisms, and the learning capability. Because some of the expert systems can learn from new data and they refine their knowledge base overall time. So we just try to reflect our minds or refresh our minds to this very important feature of expert system. Now we'll look at how the expert system work and their architecture. This is to say, we have the diagram we can look into from the knowledge acquisition to inference engine to the user interface. When we talk about the knowledge acquisitions, we are looking about how do you gather this necessary knowledge and implement on the system so that the system will be able to respond based on the user's command. Then in between, we have the inference engines that process all users' queries and then randomly apply the rules from the knowledge base to generate solutions. That is, sometimes it is difficult to differentiate expert system with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence application tools such as ChatGPT, all the generative models, sometimes it is quite difficult. That is to say, both of them work in peripation. They work in hand by hand. Take for instance, now you have as a farmer who could be the user. Maybe you have or you developed an expert system based on agricultural practice. Maybe an expert system that will be able to inform a farmer on when to plant and when not to plant. So as a farmer, what do? You connect to the user interface, UI. Then from the user interface, you now be interacting with the inference engine that will help you to query based on the available information in the database. From the inference engine, you will now connect to the working memory, because if your system is not actually working, if you don't have a storage unit or memory unit, there's no way you can communicate. It's not like human being. If you don't have brain, how would you function? So on this note, from the working memory, you are now interfacing, connecting from the knowledge base where all the knowledge have been predefined and stored. Then from the knowledge base, you can now have knowledge base editor. Knowledge base editor gave birth to knowledge base because the editor have to check what have been stored. It's just like journal editor, newspaper editor, report editor, who have to screen what comes in and what goes out. And this knowledge base editor is being generated from expert interface. The expert interface. That means we have two interfaces, the user interface and the expert interface. Do you see it now? So in this note, you are now connecting. There are two interfaces: the expert domain interface and the user interface. And from the expert interface is now being generated from expert knowledge, or the knowledge what engineers. Remember, in our previous slide, we discussed about knowledge engineers, which collaborate with the expert engineers, or the expert system engineers, or domain users. So the domain experts. So this is a chain of the communication, and that is what we call the architecture of the expert system. Now, in case maybe you are working with expert system and you want to install it, how do you do that? So that is what we want to look at: the procedures, the sequence through which you can utilize to get your expert system installed. Though it depends on the operating system you are using, or the software, or the framework you choose to use. Nevertheless, we want to use a case with Python programming interface or language. If you are using Python, first of all, you need to install the Python. And how do you install Python? Maybe you don't have it. It's an open source. That is one of the benefits of this programming language. You can simply download it from their website, python.org. You can easily download it. Then once that is done, you cannot choose the rule engine that helps you to select some of the Python library that you want to use. And some of this rule-based reasoning using Python is Pinot or PyDatalog. These are some of the libraries you can import if you want to work on expert system related projects. After which you have to design your knowledge base, where the knowledge will be dwelled. After which you now begin to implement your inference engines using some code to implement it. When that is done, you can now create your user interface where the user have to interact with the inference engine. Finally, you can now test and validate to ensure that your expert system is working based on the user's requirements, based on the user's specifications, based on the stakeholders' agreements, based on your client's requests. You have to evaluate it and ensure that it works. Now, let's look at the main business of the day: local use cases of expert system. So we can quickly move in to discuss some of the use cases. Now, I believe you can see my screen very well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So on this note, we want to look at how can expert system applied in medical diagnosis. We are picking medical diagnosis as one of the case scenario where expert system can be applied, as we can envisage that expert system can help the medical doctors to carry out some diagnosis of certain disease and possibly recommend treatment or appropriate treatment for such patients based on the medical history. Like if for instance, maybe you want to apply it to diagnose malaria, how do you do that? From the diagram, you can see these are the main interface, the main expert system domain, where you have the user interface, inference engine, and the knowledge base. And look at the knowledge from an expert. This is the main expert person. The knowledge is coming to the knowledge base. From the knowledge base, you connect to the inference engine. The inference engine down interwoven with the user interface. From there, as a user, non-expert user, as a farmer, as who is suffering from malaria, as someone who is not computer savvy, or from another domain or discipline, and you want to actually don't know how this thing works, but you can use it's just like an application, a software, and you want to use it. So you can now query based on what maybe the signs and symptoms of malaria. The system should be able to give you the signs and symptoms. If you want to see what are the likely drugs to be administered on acute malaria, it will give you some list of drugs and gives you and they prescribe how to use them. This is in sequence of generations. So look at the way it can be applied and other medical related areas. Recently, I was working on this. Okay, this thing came to my mind. I was acting as if I am insane. I was acting as if something is pressing me, like somebody under favor room or pregnant. In fact, to crown it all, I am pregnant of ideas as it's running into my body. How can I apply or integrate or fuse AI with expert system to solve health-related problem? I was battling within my mind. I asked myself, what do I do? Which area? How? I was looking at the most predominant areas that affect the needs or affect the main, affect the highest populations or the large populations. On this note, I was keep pondering on what to do. I said, no, the best thing is for me to start. I went to carry pen and paper, begin to jot down some things. I don't even really know what I'm writing. But before you know it, I came up with something. I needed to write a proposal, research grant proposal. I was looking for areas I can write research grant proposal. So after prosecuting with my mind, I came up with combining artificial intelligence with expert system to solve a problem of digital eye strain deaths. Digital eye strain. How can I apply artificial intelligence plus expert system to solve problem of eyes? You and I are expressing a digital devices. Maybe connecting to me or connecting through your phone. Some are connected through their PC and other related digital devices. Your eye is in contact with the screen. Some people watch television, watch movie. You can discover that there are a lot of people that cannot do without these smart devices, and all of them have what screen. So, and I looked at it. One could ask the question: does it mean that there is no any other remedies outlined in the contemporary environment? The question is, there is. But here is the silent questions. Does those medical available devices that can help you to contain strain from your eye, that especially when you are directly facing a screen issues? There should be a way. I was asking myself, yes, there should be a way. One is that when you overuse a system, this is what we call dry eyes or tearing eye, like a watering eye. Sometimes people use glass. Sometimes people use another screen cover, in that perspective. But the question is, are they in real time? The answer is no, they're not in real time. Then secondly, can they be personalized? The answer is no. Those available conventional devices, they cannot be personalized. For instance, you went to buy a Blu-ray eyeglass. The way it appears, that's why you just wear it. Remember that individual systems differs. You cannot customize it or personalize it. Maybe adjust it, this and that. Or maybe when it is over, you overuse it, it should be able to give you a notification that you have overused it, you have to drop it, or you need to have it. And moreover, even if you have eye problems, if you are using the glass, it will tell you that there's extent at which the condition of that eye has gotten to. So sometimes you embark on probably on text. But I can now discover that after my preliminary research, I discovered that expert system combined with artificial intelligence can do the job very well. Can you see how, or the role of artificial intelligence with expert system is doing wonder? It's your ability to think, to reason. to implement it matters. All right. I believe that with this little demonstration, you'll be able to explain to anyone what or the role of expert system in medical services. So having noted this, we can now move to the second application areas or local use cases: financial planning and budgeting. How can expert system be applied for finance and budget? Of course, it helps provide personalized financial advice and investment strategies. This can be achieved depending on the individual needs or goals. At the same time, the risk tolerance, ability to avoid some certain risk, though risk is inevitable, but we have high risk, low risk, and probably middle average risk or medium risk. So this is a situation whereby you have an interface where you can possibly add a figure and run it. It automatically maybe compute it and give you some illusion what you can expect in the market. There are in financial market, all these there are some softwares people use for simulations. People use it for trades or signals. There are a lot of them. They use for signal. Know when to enter trades and know when not to enter trades. It will help you to optimize based on the global perception. Of course, if you're into trading, you see there are a lot of factors that determine the upward trend and downward trend of a market. That is what they call market trend. So if you're able to tell you whether there is a bull market or bear market, whether it's bullish or bearish. So all these things are different technicalities or technicals, technical analysis that is confined within financial markets. You can create a software that can pass signals into the market, and the level of the accuracy of that signal determines how people can be drive or how it can drive traffic into your application. Going forward, we have technical support. Expert system can also offer you a technical support where the user you are used for troubleshooting technical issues, software, hardware, electronic devices, and it's in stages by say maybe for the developers, it connect to quality assurance or quality experts, and from there you have system admin. You can connect them together. Some of them can be in form of help desk. Sometimes you call you want to make call, and they will just position one beautiful lady, try to interrupt your discussion, especially maybe if you don't have enough airtime. All these are some of them are expert domains or enabled with some automated voices. They are quality control. If you're in a control room, maybe an industry where a lot of works are being going on, the manufacturing data, they identify defects in a product to maintain quality standards, to facilitate the work of quality specialists, to revive them, part of the routine bodies, solving simple problems. This and more, expert systems are capable of processing more data than specialist experts. That is quality control, as you can see from the screen. Then we have legal advisory. Expert systems also play a very significant role in legal advisory. It plays a very significant role in these perspectives. How? Offering legal advice and insight based on laws, regulations, which is generated from the previous cases, precedents. If a legal counsel, sometimes that's why it's good as 90 personnel. You can penetrate into their domain and break through, provide solutions to it. If you go there, what determines a lawyer to win a case is a ability to understand the law. How do you understand the law? By knowing cases. Maybe they will say Okeke and Okafor, Nkemu and Obim, Nkemu versus Obim in 2024. A case was heard in Owerri, Imo State. Therefore, that case presented in this nature, these are the judgment that was given. So you use those precedents based on the cases won and the reasons attached, and use that to develop your system. I think Mohammed is working on this area. Based on his brief research, you understand or believe me that there's a lot of roles expert system, played in legal services. So it is very, very important that if you are interested in this area, you can go into it, make more further research. Then finally, another application area is environmental monitoring. Environmental monitoring. Expert system has been applied in environmental monitoring through data that have been used to identify potential hazards and recommend appropriate actions. Take for instance, I have air environmental monitoring, soil environmental monitoring, noise environmental monitoring, biodiversity environmental monitoring, water environmental monitoring. These are different types of environmental monitoring that expert system can help you accomplish. We move further to see human resource management system. How can expert system be utilized in human resource management system, that is HRM? Now, it's help to assist in recruitment, onboarding, and performance evaluation of employees. Very, very important. Even it also apply for attendance, training, appraisals, payments, relieving, and even contract level. Somebody may say, how can this thing work? As you can see from each of them, maybe for appraiser initiations, appraiser feedback, appraiser consolidations, in promotions, in transfer, increments, expert system can be utilized in these areas. Then, another significant areas through which expert system has been applied is language translations, where you can translate different language or speech or text from one language to another language. Let me tell you, in my school, as a master's student or as a PhD student, in your final dissertations or thesis, after the abstract, you are expected to translate your abstract to an Igbo language. It's compulsory. You must translate abstract with Igbo language versions. I believe in other places, you may translate your abstract of your master project or dissertation or your PhD thesis. Translate the abstract because it shows a summary of the entire research you have done. You may be expected to translate to Hausa language or Yoruba language, or even your own local language. For those who are non-specialists to understand the impact, the significance of your research. So it helps for text analysis, it helps for translations, it helps for editing and proofreading of your document. So the last part of what today's discussion will also look at fault detections and diagnosis. Detecting fault and diagnosing issues is a very complex one, especially in the machinery and equipment. Intelligent system that is capable of autonomously detecting and diagnosing faults in real time with accuracy and low latency is what expert system helps you to accomplish. You know, there are some systems, expert systems that can be deployed in some of the machines to detect the fault. There are, especially depending on the some highly equipped workshops. Maybe if your car is having issues or your laptop is having issues, they don't need to lose it. They will only use it to maybe plug it in your system. Then it will show them the fault before losing them. Because a lot of our systems have been damaged because people use it for trial and error. You buy a new car, little fault they can correct. They want to use everything. One day I escorted a friend to mechanic, just for them to change and say, oh yeah, no, they wanted to change the ring. They had to lose and put the whole engine down. I said, wonderful. This is very, absurd, because this thing can easily be fixed without losing the entire system. With your expert system, you should be able to detect the fault and then possibly show how to solve that problem without with ease without passing into a complex scenarios. So as you can see in the diagram here, users, we can connect the user interface, inference engine, knowledge base, knowledge engineers, maintenance experts. Then we can now connect both the database and at the same time the maintenance manuals. Look at how.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow and turn on post notification to know when I post a new video.